Heroes, COVID-19 Heroes TV show, life stories. You know, there's so many people who have recovered from COVID-19 and they want to tell their stories. And we're so happy for the PIC TV network able to beam in this brand new hit show. And I have two of my friends. My good friend, Pastor Michael Waiters, is on today. He's a great man of God, and also Pastor Jerome Bowie. They have this in common. Both of them recovered from COVID-19. How you doing, Pastor Bowie, tonight?
Oh, man, I feel well. God is good. I tell you, he is awesome. Yes, God is awesome.
Thank you, sir. How you doing tonight, Pastor Michael?
Feel blessed.
Wow. Thank you, sir.
Could have been gone. I'm still here.
Man, that's amazing, man. You guys have miracle testimonies that we're going to share with people from all over the world. You know, COVID-19 has impacted all of us all over the world, no matter what your race, creed, color, religion, whoever you are. COVID-19 has definitely impacted our world, you know, and you guys have a life story. The doctors and the health experts are doing all they can to help bring this pandemic back down and save lives. And I'm so happy again for our DC numbers are coming down. Our Maryland numbers are coming down, and we're praying for everybody else around the world. We know 6 people died in DC, and 31 folk died in Maryland. You know, in just this day. You know, so we are one life is too much to leave. You know, from COVID-19, but we're praying for those public health experts and the doctors and our governors, Hogan and everybody else doing whatever they can. Mayor Bowser from DMV and all over the world. Pastor Bowie, I wanted you to come on tonight. Let's go right into this brand new hit show, you know, COVID-19 life stories. Tell us about, Pastor Bowie, about when you went to get tested for COVID-19 and your wife and your nephew. How did things unfold? Come on, talk to us.
Well, Bishop Evans, you know, it's amazing because a little bit over 3 months ago, me, my wife, my grandson who's 15 years old, my cousin who's 36 years old, and my son who's 35 years old, we went to get tested for COVID. We all tested positive. So that's 5 of us in the same house. Went to get tested positive for COVID. And my cousin, he was sick for a couple of days, and he normally never take off work. But he took off work for 2 days, and he was sick and coughing. And that was kind of odd with him because he never takes off work. So he said to us, let me go get the test because he kept coughing. So he went and got the test, and then told him 3 days later he had the results, and he got the results back, and he walked into me and said, here's my test results, and he had tested positive for COVID. And around that time, I knew I was sick, and I thought it was just a regular cold that I had, and so I was fighting the cold, you know, taking medicine and had minor headaches, but I thought too much about it. And later on, I found out that my cousin tested positive. So the next day, me, my wife, and my grandson and my son went to get tested because we all in the same house, and we got the same day results, and all is tested positive for COVID. So that's 5 of us that had tested positive for COVID. So the strange thing about it was that with me, some of y'all know my story. About 7 months ago, I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. So I had just recently got a pacemaker put in, you know, the defibrillator and put in. So, and also I have diabetes and I have the blood pressure. So it was really a great concern for me because they said anybody with pre-existing issues is really, really rough on them. So we tested positive, and I know I'm actually the only one in the house that went through all the symptoms. My wife, she had cold, she had cough, but you know, she was still able to smell, she was still able to eat here and there. But I went 12 days without even eating. I couldn't eat nothing, couldn't smell nothing, couldn't taste nothing. So my cousin, he went into isolation, but he was able to eat and smell. My son was able to eat and smell. My grandson was able to eat and smell. I was the only one who actually went through the whole process of not being able to smell, not being able to eat, having headaches and diarrhea. And so my wife called the ambulance because she's saying you just ain't able to eat anything. So she called the ambulance. They came. They said my oxygen level was good, so they wouldn't put me on oxygen. So they went about their business. And then next day, my wife called another ambulance. She said, you really need to go to the hospital because of your pre-existing condition. So finally, the third ambulance came and I said, okay, I'll go. I finally went to the hospital. I said, if nothing else, they'd be giving some IVs and everything. But the blessed thing about it all is even through my COVID, I went 12, 13 days without eating. I wound up going to the hospital and was hospitalized for 2 days. So the blessed thing about it all for me is that even in the hospital, even when the ambulance coming back and forth to my house, I was never put on oxygen. They never said that they had to put me on a machine or anything. And so I just fought through it with the help of God. And I got on Facebook and I told people that, yes, I tested positive for COVID, but I also tested positive for faith. So I just had faith in God because he told us in his word that the weapon will form, but it won't prosper. So I just bashed in that, knowing that the weapon did form, but I still believe that it wouldn't prosper. And after about 14, 15 days, I got better, got released from the hospital, came home. We had to get retested. My wife tested negative, I tested negative. In my household, God brought us through it all. Through trials and tribulations, brought us through it all. But I tell you, I don't wish COVID on anyone. Anybody that ever had the flu, you know how that is. That sometimes can be bearing, but COVID-19 is no joke. It's real. I would get up at nights and this inhale hot water, just to get in my system. And I was going through them symptoms like that. But God put me through. I'm a survivor. I'm here today to tell somebody that might be laying in the hospital, to tell somebody that might be laying home, or somebody that might be sick now. God is a healer. He can deliver you. He said in his word that the weapon will form, but it won't prosper. So I just come to tell somebody, encourage somebody that it formed in my family, but it did not prosper. So all of us are still in good health right now. And my son stays, sometimes he still can't smell, but there's the after effects, but he's alive. So we're alive and well. So I thank God that through it all, he brought us out of it. And it's no joke, it's real. COVID-19 is real. And I'm so happy to be on the day to tell somebody that you can come through it. Like I say, I tested positive for it, but I also tested positive faith. Because the Bible said without faith, it's impossible to please God. So I tested positive for faith in God and believed in my Savior that he was going to bring me through. Why some people don't make it, I don't understand. I don't know. I don't have that. But I do know I'm still here for a reason. So God is good.
Pastor Bowie, I'm so happy, man. When I hear your testimony, and it blesses people all around the world on the PIC TV network. We've been together for many, many years, and when I see your testimony, hear what God has done in your life and bringing you through COVID-19. I can remember you calling me and saying that you have it. You was on your way to the hospital. Matter of fact, we were in prayer that night, and you told me your wife had it, and your nephew had it, and your cousin had it. And I was like, Lord, please touch my brother and his family. And it's just a miracle that you're here tonight. God spared your life. You're a hero. You're a COVID-19 hero, man. I want to thank you for fighting back and everything. We're going to talk a little bit more about some more things that you went through in COVID-19. Pastor Michael Raiders, my friend, we've been friends down through the years also. He's on right now. I wanted him to come on and tell about his COVID-19 life story. Pastor Michael, been over your house, man, know you and your wife, your son, man. And, I wanted you to talk about how did you feel when you first heard you had COVID-19 and give us the process of what you went through for your recovery.
Yes, sir. It was about around June 2020. I was working at a place called Enterprise Car Rental. And, we was going on business as usual. We're wiping down the vehicles inside. We had gloves on. We had masks on. We was getting our temperature checked first thing in the morning, but somehow that virus came through our department and it made everybody sick from the supervisors all the way down to everybody. And so they didn't say at that particular time that we had COVID or anything. You know, they try to keep it a hush hush for some reason, but at the same time, I know I was closing down my church because we wasn't having services because the COVID in the area, and we didn't want to get the people sick, and then we wanted to pay uh, for the rent for empty buildings. So as we was closing, we were moving out and everything, my deacons and my sons and everybody, I was helping out, but I noticed I started getting real weak. Every time I try to help move furniture and stuff, every step just got slower and I was just exhausted. And so my deacon said, Pastor, just rest, sit down, we got this. And so the following day I got even weaker and this thing started attacking me. And my couldn't hardly, I started having these bad headaches every time I cough. I had got these severe headaches. And so I called my doctor. My doctor said, I want you to go get a COVID test. And so my wife took me down there to the Kaiser Center and went down there. She dropped me off. So I'm going to park the vehicle. You go right up here, this ramp, and go inside. They was in a trailer. By the time I got from the bottom of the ramp to the top, I was so exhausted. They had to get a wheelchair for me. And they said that your oxygen level is dropping rapidly. And so they was doing all kind of calls. I know they started moving real fast and stuff. And they said, we got a room for them. So the nurse, she wheeled me across into the facility. But she wasn't going slow. She was going real, real fast. And so I feel she must be she knew something I didn't know. She was rolling. And they finally got me in the bed. They put oxygen on me and everything and IVs and this and that. And they kept me overnight, and they kept running all these tests. They put me in an incubator to make sure I don't have any blood clots and stuff. And but I was fighting through. I was, when you get that report, everything get kind of still. But I trust in God because I know God is a healer. He's a deliverer. So I kept thinking about Psalms 121, where it says, I lift my eyes into the hills, which cometh my help. So, the next day I felt a little better. My strength was still weak, but it was getting stronger. And they said I might could leave that afternoon, but they actually kept me almost to the evening. I didn't really get out of there until about 5. When I got home, my doctor had them to bring me an oxygen tank to the house. Then I had a team of people that was signed to me. They monitored my high blood pressure. I had high blood pressure. They monitored my oxygen in my lungs, and things started coming up slowly. And they said my potassium was low. And then I had my uncle, my cousin, and all of them calling me, told me the same thing 3 times. So I guess that's God's way of giving me confirmation about. They said you need to get this lemon, this lime, this raw honey, and this ginger, and just boil it, and you need to drink on it. It's going to get the virus out of you. It's going to build up your immune system. And so I was sipping on that 3 times a day. But I never lost my taste bud. I never lost my smell. I was still able to eat. And, I just got better, then after everything, after I had to go get a test again to get back to work. So it came back negative. So, but I need to walk. They said, sit up. Because when you sleep, it feels like something is strangling you. You can't breathe. You got to open your lungs up. So you got to kind of sleep sitting up. And so I walked from out my house, out of the front door, down the driveway, to the mailbox, and I was tired. So, and I came back. So every other day, I kept walking further and further. So I was able to walk at least down about 3 houses to the end of the street and come back. So you got to constantly kind of build up your lungs. So, And you know, we're blessed. My wife was tested. She didn't get it. My sons was tested. They didn't get it. Thank God. But you know, I was the only one that went through it. And God kept me around, said I got work to do. So I'm here.
Wow, that's amazing, man, to hear, you know, what God has done for you in the midst of COVID-19, and also what God has done for Pastor Bowie. Both of you are just COVID-19 heroes, you know, and to see life on this side, man. I want to ask both of you, and I want to start with Pastor Bowie. Pastor Bowie, what, you know, when you first heard that you had COVID-19, from a psychological standpoint, what went through your mind, man? What was the first thing that went through your mind when you heard that you had COVID-19?
Well, as you know, Bishop, we was already 60-day straight prayer line. I was part of with your ministry and your wife. So we actually just come over 60 days of prayer. And that was all through the time that I was dealing with my heart situation. So when I found I had it, the first thing that came to my mind was, wow, I have all these underlying other symptoms that might make it worse. But I rebuked that thought. I mean, you know, I'm human. I thought that. Then I just said, God, thank you. You allowed me to go through this just for a reason. That's how I just thought positive. If you allowed me to go through this, it's for a reason. And so through that, I believe one of my reasons is to encourage other people that God can and will deliver. God is a healer, and that God is a way maker. So for me, I was already fired up in the Lord from just praying 60, 70 days straight on the prayer line. So when I first heard I had it, my wife didn't panic, my kid, my son or my grandson didn't panic. And God brought us all through it. So my first thought was, wow. That's the one thing I can say was, wow. Then I said to myself, it must be for a reason, because I do believe that God did not put more than you can bear. And I say, I'm built for this. So I built myself up. I'm built for this. So that's what my thought. I'm built for this.
Wow, that's an amazing response, man. This, you know, when you have faith in God, you believe the scriptures, man. The Lord God, the healer, you know, the scriptures come alive when you're going through your dark places even more. Pastor Waiters, talk about when you first heard you had COVID-19. How did you feel, sir? Or what came to your mind?
Well, I felt, you know, you get the voice that says, you know, you always preaching to folks, the other folks, telling them how they need to maintain, how your God is a healer and he's a deliverer. Now you going through it. Now, what are you going to do? I said to myself, you still believe in God for, and I kind of reason why he allowed me to get this, you know. But you know, you kind of feel a little sad, but you still don't give up. You know, there's a reason why we have to go through what we go through. The Bible call it trials and tribulations. And then sometimes we got to go through spiritual warfare. I feel that God has cleaned up the believers, the real believers from the half believers. You know, some folks say, yeah, I believe in Jesus Christ, but you know, and they can teach and preach to others, but when it's time for them to go through their storm, then you can find out what they're made of, whether it's gonna break, gonna make you a break. But it didn't break me. I just kept believing in God and keeping my faith, and I felt he was gonna bring me out. And I said, because I see people all around me that was on the ventilator. It was a step worse than I was. And when you get on the really fighting for your life, I want my life, but I didn't have a hard fight. And I feel because of the laboring that I did over the years and trusting in God and learning about God and getting saved, that, you know, that was enough to bring me out of that situation. Which brings me to the story of Job, how Job had to go through his trials and tribulations. I'll compare it.
That's an amazing response. You know, there's millions of people watching around the world right now on this broadcast, and we happy to see our people coming in from our streaming devices, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Facebook Live, Marco Polo, every aspect around the world, and also our Pick TV network with 43 million viewers. My good friend James Lee is watching right now, who is really the person who organized this name for this show, James Lee, and the producer of this show. I'm so happy again, Pastor Bowie, and you have been my friend down through the years, and also Pastor Michael Waiters. These are men of God with testimonies of life stories, COVID-19 life stories. Pastor Bowie, talk about again when the ambulance picked you up, man, and took you to a location you didn't even know where you were going. And I say that because humbly, my sister passed away. You know, Brenda, both of you. In August, she got in the ambulance and never came out. She passed away, and I miss my sister every day. That's I talked to her Saturday. She was gone on Sunday. So I wanted you guys, to know how did you feel, Pastor Bowie, when the ambulance picked you up and you got in the ambulance? Go ahead, Pastor Bowie. Go ahead, Pastor Bowie. Did I bring you up? Oh yeah, Pastor Waiters. I was trying to ask. How did you feel again? Being in a hospital room by yourself, nobody's there around with you, nobody to talk with you. How did you feel in the room by yourself?
Well, yeah, they isolated. My wife couldn't come and see me. The nurses was like scared to come in the room. The doctor, when he comes in with his mask and he do what he has to do, and he rolls out. And it just draws you closer to God. If you're a believer, then you're gonna pray. You're gonna pray. You're gonna talk to God. God is there. God said, "I'll never leave you. I'll never forsake you, but I'll be with you until the end of the world." So God is always there. So I'm so blessed, Lord and Savior. It's your will, Lord. What you want to, what you want me to do, or what you're gonna do with me. Is it time for me to go? Is it time for me to stay? I'm gonna put it on. I'm put it on God. But I guess He says, you got work to do. You're not going nowhere. You still got work to do. And so, that's how I feel about it.
Man, that's amazing blessing, man, to hear your response, and also Pastor Bowie on how you guys recover from COVID-19. There's a lot of people who still in the process of what you guys are going through. I know a couple of pastor friends right now that I'm praying for. I ask you to give them a call and encourage them. And also people who are not pastors. As I stated, that my sister Brenda passed away. She, I talked to her Saturday. She was gone on Sunday, and I love my sister. I miss her every day. And some people who get in those ambulances never come out. Pastor Boy, I wanted to ask you again. How did you feel when you got in that ambulance? They took you to a location you didn't even know you was going to. Can you talk about that, Pastor Bowie?
Yes, because I live here at Capitol Heights, Maryland, and it took me to Alexandria Hospital. It was about a 40-minute ride. They started taking me there, which is good hands when I got there. When I got in the ambulance, to be truthful, what I felt was wow. I just kept saying wow. But it's amazing that, I've been preaching for over 20 years, so it's amazing, like Pastor said earlier, that the trials and tribulations of life, we go through too. It rains on the just as well as the unjust. So I just knew in my spirit that this is something God allowed me to go through for a reason. That's all I kept saying. Well, so when I got in the ambulance, I say, it's for a reason. That's all I can say to myself. It's for a reason. But I felt, the only thing I could say to myself was, wow, because I have already eulogized some family members who have died from COVID. I actually have to do homegoing this Friday. Went to homecoming last week. So in this day of time, Bishop, more people in this last year has died that I know and was close to them my whole life. And I'm 57 years old. So I just felt wow. But at the same time, I kept saying it's for a reason. And I knew I was built for this. Like I said, I just knew I was built for this because when I preach the word, I preach it and try to get people to understand what God is saying because I understand what God is saying. So when I understand also that it have to come my way one way or another. So I took the challenge and said, God, it's for a reason. And I'm built for this. Yes.
Wow. Yeah, you definitely are, man. Ever since I've been knowing you, you always been a fighter, man. You a giver, a supporter, help so many people around the DMV and around the world.